Welcome to another tutorial with Aaron. I would like to use this opportunity to thank all those who are watching this video and all the new subscribers to my channel. Thank you for subscribing. All those who have been watching too, God bless you for watching and sharing the links to others. In today's lesson, we're going to be talking about a topic, circle of fifths. And it's something probably you are already practicing without knowing. And I'm going to show you so that you know what it is and how useful it is in your play. All right, so before we start, I have done a beginner crash course for beginners in all the 12 keys. I'm going to be putting the link up there. If it's not up there, it's going to be in the comment section or in the description box. You can go there, click on it. I think I've updated the list in there, so I now have the 36 videos for the beginner crash course. I have add 9 to it, and then my 7th chord progressions are also inside there. So I'll be updating the list so that if you're a beginner and you start from my very first day, you can be watching the videos and be learning them. So if you have gone through that course, you should be able to understand what I'm about to explain to you, because you've already played it without probably knowing that that is what you played. All right, so on my left, I hope probably you can see I've put the circle of fifths there. I'm going to be using this chart and then the keyboard to explain. All right, so let's start with it without further introductions. All right, so we're going to be starting with the key of C. All right, C on 12 o'clock. So let's assume this is our clock. We have clockwise and then anti-clockwise. All right, so if we are taking the key of C, if you haven't watched any of my videos before, probably this is the first time you are watching a video. The scale of C is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 1. All right, so in the circle of fifths, this is how the arrangement is. Why is this so? I'm going to explain to you in a minute. But from C, you move to G, to D, A, E, B, F sharp, B flat, A flat, E, and then B flat, and then lastly F. So what is the importance of this circle of fifth, and what does it do for you as a pianist, a keyboardist? It helps you to know the positionings of notes and then chords. All right, so let's begin with our key C. So if you pick the key of C, all right, and you move to the next, you will get G. All right, so now this is our C. The next one on the list is a G. So what is the relationship between these notes? If you are to play the scale of C, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, you will realize that the G is the 5th note. So that means that you can form a chord 5 on the key of G in relation to the key of C. All right, so if you pick C, you know that G becomes the 5th. If you move back, we are still on C. If you move back to F, F is still part of the notes in the scale, and that is the 4th note. 1, 2, 3, 4. So by looking at standing on C as your midpoint, you have G, you have F. These are your major notes or major chord in the key. For every scale that you play, like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, you have 1 as your major key, 4 as a major, and 5 as a major. The remainder, which is 2, 3, 6, are all minor. And then the 7 is a diminished. Now, it will surprise you that all the minor keys are related to these major keys, and I'm going to explain that one too. That's why you hear something like a relative minor. It means they are related. So that major key has a minor key that is related to it, and that minor key too has a major key that is related to it. So they are related to each other because of something that we're going to explain as time goes on. All right, so now if you have learnt my beginner course, see this is chord 1. Now we know that G on the scale is a fifth, so we come to, that's why it's called major, that's why it's called circle of fifth. It's fifth. So anytime you move to a fifth. So this is C. G will be a fifth. Okay, all right. Now let's move to G. Let's forget about the fourths right now. Let's do something before we come back to the fourth. Let's stand on G. So this is our key G. D will be a chord, a fifth chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So G, and then our fifth will be D. And it's a major chord because every fifth is a major chord for now. For this lesson, you are playing all the fifths as major. All right, so this is G. Immediately you see D, you know it's your 5. All right, now let's come to D, which is on it. Now from D, the next fifth is an A, which is, so 1, 5. If we are on A, E is going to be our fifth. Okay. And then if we are on E, B is going to be our fifth. But if we are on B, okay, F sharp is going to be our fifth. Now let's look at something. If we are on F sharp, what is going to be our fifth? On F sharp, our fifth is the D flat. Okay, so now let's be on D flat. D flat is the same as C sharp. All right, now we are going to be looking for A flat. This is A, this is flat, so 1 and then 5. So now let's come to A flat. Our fifth is an E flat. This is E, this is the flat. Okay, so now let's come to E flat. Our fifth is a B flat. And then let's be on B flat. Sorry. Our fifth is going to be F. All right. So what does this do? If you know this table by heart, you should be able to point out your fifth all the time. And your fifth is like a midpoint between the chords. All right. So Now let's use the keyboard now to explain this in relationship to this, because this is just figures. You have to be able to translate it here and use it to practice. Otherwise, it has no meaning. All right. So the application is that now you can also use this in forming chords. How do you use it? I wouldn't recommend you use this in forming chords because I've already uh, told you the formula, a simple formula: 135, 246, and the rest in forming a chord, in a chord, using the scale that you are being given to. All right. So now let's come back to C. We all know that the formula for forming a major triad is a 135. So this is my 1, this is my 3, this is my 5. All right. So in the chord 1 itself, the fifth is always shown. So anytime you play a chord 1 of any chord or any key, if you pick them and then you decide to make it as your key that of reference. For example, if I'm going to use F sharp as my reference and I play a chord 1, by the playing of only this chord, I should be able to determine my fifth. And once you have the fifth, 2 semitones or a tone back should get you your fourth. Now, if you are on chord 1 and then you know your fifth, another tone should give you your sixth. So back to C, using the structure of this key. All right, I have 1, 3, and then 5. Immediately I know this is my 2, this is my 3. Per only the chord 1, you should know your 3, and then you should know your 2, because a 2 from the chord 1 is a tone, and then for the 5, moving back a tone is a 4th chord. So with what I was teaching you previously before I came to this, when you are on C and you move back the chart, you move to F, that's your chord 4. If you move forward, that's your chord 5. So with only the 1, 4, 5, you can start playing something from a key. All right, so with 1, then you move to a 5, then 4. All right, let me look for a loop and try to see if I can be using that one when it comes to playing the so we're using only the chord 1, chord 5, and then chord 4. All right, so 1, 5, then 4, 1, 5, 4. All right, now let's twist it. Now let's do 1, 4, 5 and see. 1, 4, and then 5. Okay, all right. So with this, I should know my 4 and 5. Now, it applies to every one of them. So let's do them quickly. All right. I want this explanation to be extensive so that if this is your first time of learning the circle of faith, you should be able to understand how it relates to the keyboard. All right. And be able to form progression and chords with it. Okay. So now let's move on to G. I hope I can tackle all the keys because I want it to be extensive, as I said. Okay, so our key G, C will definitely be our fourth, and then D is going to be 5. So let's continue. All right, so I'm going to run through all of them without pausing. Let's see. Then with a 4 and then a 5, D. Okay, so let me pick one progression. I'll do a 1, 5, 4, 1, 5, 4. All right, so again, 1, 5, and then a 4. So now let's move on to D. D, A is a 5, and then G is a 4. 1, and then a 4. Now let's come to A. All right, so 1, then E, and then D becomes 4. So 1, E, and then a D. Again, 1, and then a 5, and then a 4. So now let's come to the E itself. So from E to a B, and then a 4 is a E. Alright, sorry, we are doing E rather. So it's E, B, A. Okay, so E, and then a B, and then A. Then a B, and then an A. Now let me come to B. So with a B, I'm going to be doing F sharp and then E. F sharp and E. So 1, and then a E. So probably if you are looking at the chords that I'm playing, I've been teaching some advanced chords, so you should be able to understand what I'm playing. Or if you don't, just play the simple chord progression that you know you're triad. All right, so with a B, 1, 5, and then a 4. Okay, now let's move on to F sharp. So with the F sharp, we're going for a B. A B now is going to be 4th. Okay, so when we get down here, we're going to swap anti-clockwise. It's going to be B, D flat, and then B. I hope you're getting it. So from here, it was this way, that way. So now, sorry, it was this way, that way. But now it's going to be this way, that way. From when we're descending, we're playing this way. Okay, but this time it's going to be this way. We're going this way before coming this way. All right, so it's going to be D flat and then B. So now let's look. Ready, go. 1, and then this is 5, and then B is 4. Now let's move on to D flat, which is the same as C sharp. So with that one, we're going to be having A flat, okay, as our 5. If we're going to be having the A flat as our 5th, and then the F sharp as our 4th. Okay, now let's look at it. And then the F sharp. Now D flat is the same as C sharp. Alright, so now let's move to the A flat. If we're moving to A flat, E flat is going to be our 5th, and then the C sharp or the D flat is going to be our 4. Okay, now let's move. 1, 5, and then a 4. E flat, D flat. Alright, now let's move on to the E flat. So with the E flat, the A flat, alright, the A flat is going to be our 4th, which is here, and then the B flat is going to be our 5th. Alright, ready, go. 1, and then a 5, and then a 4. Then 4. Now let's move on to B flat. So with our B flat, even by forming chord 1, we know that F is our 5. F is our 5, and then the E flat is our 4. So ready, go. 1, and then a 5, and then a 4. Now let's move on to F. So with the F, we're going to be having C as our 5th. Even looking at the chord that I just played on my right, I have C as my 5th because it's 1, 3, 5, Do, Mi, So. Alright, then I have a B flat as my 4. Let's go. 1, 5, and a 4, and then back to C. All right, so with the circle of faith, you just, for simply for you as a beginner, just form your chord 1. Once you form your chord 1, you have the beginning of your chord, your root position, that's the key, and then the 5th. And most of the times, if you are able to recognize the 5th as a beginner, because most of the time it's difficult for beginners to see the layouts when they are playing a new key. All right, so when they become comfortable with only one key and they know it, they don't want to try to learn other keys. All right, but once you're able to form chord 1, you know your 5th on the scale, you know your 1, you should be able to know your 3, And then from your 3 to your 4, and then your 5 to your 6 isn't that much of a difficulty. So if you have been following my chord progressions for beginners, that's the crash course that I did, you should have pretty much everything explained and figured out, because in the course I give you the scales for every key from key C to the last one, so all 12 keys and different progressions. So if you are not taking it seriously, take it seriously, because with that alone you should be able to play every chord in a key. If not for anything, chord 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you should be able to play. All right, so in our next lesson I'm going to be explaining the relative keys, how keys are related to each other, why we can say this, oh, this minor has a relative major of this, and this major has a relative minor of this one. So thank you for staying with this course. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, kindly click on the subscribe button and click a like, and then share it to others. Probably you might be helping someone to get a hold of what we are doing, to be able to also move on to the next level in their key, their piano playing. God bless you, and bye bye. See you.